I'm Karen Galasso from 10th House, and I'm here today with Simon Gould and Ben Kinnaird from Sydney Digital Marketing, and we've asked them to come in to try and demystify the process of choosing and working with a digital marketing agency to formulate social media campaigns and try and work out the best way of choosing platforms, maybe taking away the fear of the costs that might be involved, and also just working out just talking about some of the very, very different options that are out there for each company. So, look, first of all, guys, can you just tell me when a company is choosing a digital agency, what should they be looking for?
I guess the first thing that we talk about with our clients is obviously transparency. They need to be able to see exactly what's going on, where their budgets are being spent, what the results are at any time. One of the complaints that we receive a lot is that people employ an agency and they don't hear from them for a month.
Yeah.
I think it's important that you've got open communication with your agency and you can see the results that are being delivered on a sort of almost like a real-time basis, which is possible. I think also, a good track record in the areas where you need success, whether that's lead generation, sales, inquiries, building your database. So I guess something that where the agency can show you that they've worked or delivered similar results that you're looking for.
What do you need from them? What do you need them to have thought about?
It's a good question. I think definitely a succinct brief to start with. A lot of companies and brands come to us and they don't understand exactly what the objective is. They have an overall business strategy, but they don't know how to interweave that into their digital marketing and social media strategy. So, what is your cost per acquisition? What are you willing to spend? What's the lifetime value of your customer? What is your actual goal? Is it clicks to website? Is it lead generation? Is it registrations? Is it e-commerce? There's various different options there. But for us to be able to become part of their team and an internal digital marketing team, we really need to understand what is those end goals and what does success look like for that business.
And a lot of the time businesses surprisingly don't have that data. Simple things like cost per acquisition and, as Ben said, lifetime value of the customer. They're two things that constantly surprise us that a business isn't aware of.
So in terms of spend, what percentage of the total marketing budget do you think should be put towards digital and social?
Look, it's shifted from, as people are realising the success that they're getting from digital, it's shifted from what was, I think, just 30% of your total marketing budget last year, up to about 50% now. Advertising spend across Australia has just hit $5 billion in online spend, and it's growing at about 15% a year. So obviously your budgets should be matching that sort of growth, but yeah, 50% of your budget really should go to digital.
And what about the investment in culture and staff? I mean, do you find that although people are putting a digital marketing strategy together, that do you find much involvement is that the staff are actually involved in what's going on? Is there any kind of policy? Do people have social media policies? Do they include the staff and try and get buy-in from them and include them in what's going on, or have you found it's a bit segregated?
Look, we've number of our clients we've spoken with, we've said, look, if you can generate your own content as well as us providing content for you, let's get the staff to buy into it. Let's get them out taking pictures of things in the local area or quirky things that happen during their day. Some people are really good at it. Some people
hate it.
Some people just hate it. So look, we think that no business knows their brand and their culture like themselves. We can go off and obviously do that work for them on social media, but it is always good to get some sort of inclusivity, I guess, within the business.
Absolutely. In particular with LinkedIn as well. So many companies won't have the amount of followers as individuals from a LinkedIn perspective. So getting buy-in and that cultural change within the business to get individuals sharing company content is really important, and vice versa. Showing the culture within a local business, whether it be LinkedIn is a perfect example. They do that fantastically. Google, with their Google offices, Facebook, all these big companies are showing the culture, and that's a key part. Brand personality, the tone, the voice is a key reason why a lot of candidates want to work for those companies.
Well, I know my challenge in here is, as a business owner, is to get people involved in the video side of things, because I think there's a lot more that we could be doing with video. I mean, this video is actually going out in our EDM, our regular EDM, as opposed to a written post. But it's very hard to get people in front of a camera sometimes. So what are you finding are the trends with video? Are you finding that companies are moving that way a lot more? And what advice would you have for people there?
Look, we're definitely encouraging. I mean, the market is growing exponentially anyway in terms of video. Facebook alone, again, there's something ridiculous like 500 million views, I think, a month or so going on Facebook. Don't quote me on that number, but it is exponential growth in terms of video. Placing a 30-second video on Facebook as an ad that then can encourage people to come through to a landing page or through to your website. It's a very powerful way of getting your message out there quickly and cost effectively. We find with some of our Facebook video campaigns that it only costs us 1 cent to 2 cents for a view. So you only got to put $100 or $200 behind that on a daily basis. Suddenly you're reaching thousands of people for pennies.
So what's best for my business, SEO or content marketing?
It's a good question, and we hear this every day. From our perspective, we believe content marketing is the best. It's about driving, position yourself as a thought leader, building trust and credibility within your audience. Regular blog content, video content, pictures, written articles, guest blogging, webinars, podcasts.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. There's so much involved, and you don't need to do everything, but you definitely need to start integrating those meetings into your strategy and moving forward in that direction. SEO, it's continuing to evolve and continuing to change. 5 years ago, everyone was trying to break the code from a Google perspective. You're never going to beat those algorithms, and there's no point trying to do tricky backlinks. It's about providing the best content for your audience.
It's relevant,
Google will,
contextual.
exactly. They'll reward you accordingly. So, like we said before, it's content marketing is king, and people-to-people engagement is really key in this.
Okay, so talking about engagement, I've got a very specific question here. Why am I getting no engagement on Facebook anymore? How do I go and reach my audience? Why is it becoming so hard?
Have we got Mark on speedphone here? Mark's
Facebook's monetized when they floated. Obviously, everybody now has to pay to play. To answer that in 30 seconds or less.
Do you think?
I think a lot of people originally felt betrayed. They'd worked really hard to build up their audience. They might have paid to get the likes and the followers, as well as all the effort they put in to grow that. Now they've actually got to pay to reach them. Look, it's like any medium, isn't it? TV advertising is not cheap. The networks used to have the audience, and you'd pay to get in front of that audience. Now it's that's sort of flipped around, and it's, I've got to say, agencies are finding the audience. We've got a huge selection of specific audiences for some of our clients that we developed over a couple of months, over the last year, say. But Facebook is now is all about investing money into itself, and so you're lucky to get 2%, 2 to 3%. Some of our best clients that have got 100,000 followers, say on Facebook, are lucky to get 15 to 20% organic reach. That's phenomenal considering that the industry average is about 2%. But that's basically why. So again, you've got to come up with clever content. Build yourself a social media calendar so that you're planning out each month what your content's going to be, and so you're not just putting things out there willy-nilly to see how they're going, and then you can come back and see which ones are performing, and then repeat that the next month and the next month. And by all means, don't be afraid to boost some posts or to set up some posts as Facebook ads. Even putting 10, 20.
Well, that's where the digital strategy comes in, isn't it? Because most people wouldn't know what boosting an ad was or what was involved in that.
Yeah.
I know we didn't when we started doing it. So those are some of the benefits of going to a specialist agency such as yourselves, where they can give you that information.
And you just maybe think of a point as well. So we've had clients where we've posted things on Facebook for them, and the engagement with the post has been very, very low. No one's liked it, no one's commented, or very few people have liked it or commented. But when we've looked at the back end in Google Analytics to see what the website traffic has been like, we've seen, I won't say a huge spike, but we've seen a lot of activity where people have not necessarily engaged with the post, but they've clicked on it and gone through to the website. So you've got to be looking at all of these angles, or all of the data rather, to really see what's working for you. just because it didn't work on social media doesn't mean people haven't then gone and Googled it and come through on your website a different way.
And you don't have to use everything either, do you? I mean, there's Pinterest, there's Instagram, there's Twitter. I mean, we talked about Facebook and LinkedIn a lot from a business perspective. Not all companies benefit from those three, or doing anything with those three. So, I mean, you don't have to be everywhere, do you?
No, definitely not. Obviously, Facebook's the number one player in Australia. They've got over 14 million active users, which is huge considering the population's 22, 23 million. So Facebook's definitely a key component in regards to building that community, getting that brand tone and message out there. Twitter, not as big in Australia, huge in the US.
If you're a celebrity.
Celebrity, for sure, which we're not.
Celebrity endorsements, I guess
but
they do well with it.
The great thing about Twitter is, from a social listening point of view, being able to monitor and see what people are talking about. So trending hashtags, what they're saying about your brand. You might be able to find brand advocates out there who you never knew about. So from a market insight point of view, it's always on, it's live, it's a public forum. So it can be fantastic in regards to getting some really good business insights to develop strategy moving forward. Instagram's fast approaching and growing. I think there's over 5 million active users now in Australia. Third, maybe fourth biggest platform or social network in Australia. So it's growing really quickly, and we know that they've just released their new ads API recently. So it'll be interesting to see the trend with Instagram and how that goes.
Especially for millennials and the fact that it's a very visual medium as well, which leads to sort of a more a richer demographic in terms of from an advertising point of view. Those people have got wallets that they're happy to open and go and
no
spend.
second chances though, are there? I mean, if there's a mistake made, it's really blindingly obvious, and very often there's really no staff policy about what people can and cannot say.
I think a lot, we had a client the other week who rang us. There was an incident with some of their equipment or one of their products, and luckily it didn't go mainstream. But if it had have gone mainstream, certainly it would have been
disastrous.
It would have been disastrous. It would have been a big crisis.
For sure.
Yeah.
What is display retargeting, and how does that work? Because you hear a lot about retargeting. How does that work?
It's quite simple. So what we do is we'll place a cookie or a pixel on the back end of someone's website. Anyone who comes through to the website, they'll get remarketed to, or the pixel will be placed onto their IP. And so then when they go off and start searching for other items through the Google Display Network, or they'll go to news.com.au, they'll get retargeted to from that particular website.
Okay, so I get a lot of that on my laptop when I obviously get retargeted everywhere, but I'm almost at the point now finding that I struggle to find the actual article I'm reading in amongst all the ads that are down the sides. They're now cutting into the actual posts themselves. Sure. It's becoming very, very annoying.
Yeah, if it's done effectively, it can be really, really powerful. We find that sort of 1 to 2% of conversions will take place on that initial website view. So there's 98% of people who will bounce and they'll continue shopping. So if you can come back to them with an offer, maybe it's a gift with purchase, maybe it's free shipping, maybe it's 10% off if we're talking about an e-commerce site here. All of a sudden there's that extra little carrot to be able to drive them back into the funnel. So if we can get them back in there, we can increase your conversion rate from 2 to 4%. You've just doubled your business, and it's still only 4% of total traffic. So it can be very powerful, but like you said, it needs to be contextual. It needs to have not just the same ad creative, it needs to be different. It needs to know, hey, I know Karen was on this site and now I'm going to remarket to you with something a little bit different.
Okay, now last but not least, data and insights. Those two words get thrown around a lot. You mentioned reporting earlier on, and I guess the digital space it was fabulous when it came into being, because for the first time you could really, really look at exactly what the results were as opposed to putting an ad on TV. So what expectations should a client have on being able to track and monitor and be able to see what results they're getting?
Again, we've gone to some clients where they hadn't even looked at their website traffic, for instance, and over a period of a year, their website traffic may have dropped off by 30%. That's obviously having a much larger impact throughout the whole business as well. So we've then gone, and I guess what we try and do is we try and draw the sort of the key piece of data out of everything that goes on. So, okay, how many visits have you had through this month? What are the pages that people are going to? What's the dwell time on those visits? Is it going up? Is it going down? Are people engaging more or longer with your brand? Are they converting? What's the whole customer journey looking like through your site? Once they get to your shopping cart, are they putting something in, realizing it's too hard to make the transaction and then just turning around and leaving. Every client's different in terms of what data they need, but what we do is we just try and pull those main pieces out so that we can sit down with them on a monthly review, say, or a fortnightly review, and just go through sort of the key things that will indicate how their advertising campaign's going and how business from a web point of view is going in general. But data, we're probably guilty of getting a little bit too involved in some of the data because it's just a wash with it. But what we do is we just provide a headline report, and then if need be, then people can sort of dive down a little bit deeper.
I think what's key with the data is that there's so much of it out there. It's available, readily available. Google Analytics is a great tool, which is free to everyone, and there's additional tools that you can pay for. But it's understanding that data. It's how to use that data to develop recommendations and strategy back to the client and best practices moving forward. We get lost in the sea of data sometimes, and probably wearable technology is a perfect example. Everyone's wearing Fitbits and Garmin's, and there's a plethora of different brands out there, and provides you beautiful dashboards, but what does that actually mean? Okay, it's telling me I'll walk 10,000 steps today, great, but I want to lose 10 kilos, how do I do that?
Yeah.
So it's about bringing in that advice to say you're heading the right path, these are the recommendations that you need to do to be able to achieve that goal. And I think having a digital agency or a digital marketing manager who specialises in understanding that data and can lead you down that right path is key.
And
otherwise you can get lost.
Interpreted it into a business sense, taking that from the numbers and what do we do with it now that we've got those insights.
And even from a social media perspective, so to go in, there's, from a Facebook point of view, even if you're not driving people to a website to purchase a product or register for an event or download a free ebook, just the insights that you can learn from Facebook, the demographics, the age, their interests, their locations, marital status.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying. There's so much information there, which is so powerful because that information can then help with new product development, can help with your 3-year business plan. And that's the type of data that you don't get from traditional mediums. You're not getting that from magazines, you're not getting that from TV, radio, outdoor or print. So that's why we love digital and social media, and I think it's so powerful. We can see so many more businesses investing in. I think in 2014 was the first year that online advertising surpassed TV advertising in Australia. So we know that trend's heading that way, and like Simon said, it's about 15% growth year on year.
Okay, well, Ben, Simon, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks,
and I know that it's made an enormous difference to my business by making sure I have a digital strategy and going outside the company to get the expert advice that I need. And it's not as expensive as you might think, and you've got to decide what cost it's going to be to you if you don't have it. So I'd encourage you all to go out there and explore it a little bit more. I hope you found this useful. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.